Today is Friday the 13th, September, and the first day of the 36th season. Well, the house is now 36 years older. I'm 36 years older with some of my actors who've been with me for 36 years.
My name is Wayne Halsey. They're local zombie. This is my 30th season down here, pestering people with sticks and rocks. So
I'm Brian Corey. I'm a co-host on the Necronomicast podcast.
I'm Doug Kvorek. I do a website called Wicked Plaza. It's all about old haunted houses from Omaha from the 1970s, 80s, and 90s.
I'm a lifelong fan of Mystery Manor. Wasn't my first, but I went to like 2 or 3 that first year back in 85 or 6. So Mystery Manor is still pretty new.
I asked my dad to drive me by it because I was afraid to go in it, but he let me get out and I went up on the stairs and I was just checking the building out. Yet I still didn't go that year. It was maybe the next year that I finally got the courage to go to it.
To a 12-year-old kid, you really went through something if you went through Mystery Manor. I haven't been in a number of years, but I'm introducing my daughter, who's 13, soon to be 14, to her first trip through the Mystery Manor.
the appeal is if you get through the house, then you can say you made it all the way through, and then you're one up on those who either ran out or decided they didn't want to go in at all because they were too scared.
It's just that kind of rush of getting scared, but knowing in the back of your mind you're probably going to be okay. It was always fun going with like the youth group or kids from school, getting dropped off. Your parents would take you begrudgingly, grumbling about how much money it cost or whatever, but we didn't care about any of that. We just wanted to go and get scared and laugh, and to this day, they're some of my favorite memories of October.
When I was 12 years old, I was cutting my sister in half on a Houdini-type production piece, and being a magician, you have a little bent for the macabre.
I did this when I was a kid too. Run a little haunted house at home and charge kids $0.25 to come in and try to scare the bejeebers out of your friends. You find out that you only have so many quarters in kids' pockets, so it doesn't really work very well. And the haunted houses are kind of really cheap when you're only, 12, 13, 14.
What's your excuse?
When I started in the haunted industry, it was as an executive board member of the March of Dimes, and their biggest fundraiser was a haunted house. Being a commercial artist, I did the graphics for the March of Dimes, and one of the graphics I did was an advertisement for the haunted house. Following year, I was doing set design in the haunted house, and the year after that, I was acting in it, and a couple years later, I was running it. And 2 other board members of the March of Dimes and I were having a beer one afternoon, and they said, we have to break that dang haunted house down every year and put it back up and then break it down, and all we could barely do is get a safe property. I said, it would be nice if we get our own property and we could build year round and not break the thing down. And they were more involved than I was. I was just a beer partner, and I went with them as we actually walked into a CBS realtor's office. And about a half hour looking at the books of Omaha, we came across a picture of the manor. It was a condemned building. It had a great look to it, and we literally had to kick a door in to get into the property. Structurally, this house is pretty sound. They built them right in '86. Yeah, it's got the look. We can have fun with this. And as we're walking out, we put a bid on it and we bought the house and spent the next year cleaning it. My son did a research on the actual manor, and it was actually built in 1886. And the original owners of the house was a family abode, and we do not know the age or the gender of a child, but a child was lost or died in the property. It was about 9 days later they sold the property, and it's never been another private owned building ever since. I think somebody said it was a TV ward at one time, and then it was a brothel for Union Pacific. This whole street at one time was the brothels, legal brothels for Union Pacific. Oh, there's no question the place is haunted. When we first started cleaning up the house is when we first started encounter with occupants of the house. Carpenter and was walking on the third floor one day when his hammer came out of his tool belt. Well, if a hammer comes out of my tool belt, I'm awkward, that can happen. But not to Dan, who's used to working with tool belts. So the second time the hammer came out of his tool belt, he picked it up, put it in his tool belt again, and put his hand on it. And 2 steps later, 2 screwdrivers came out of his tool belt on in front of him. He picked up the screwdrivers, put them back in his belt, come down, and as he was passing me on second floor, he says, Wayne, I will work on second and first floor, but I do not work on third floor anymore. And he has not set foot on my third floor ever since. I was a cab driver in Omaha for a few years, and one Saturday night, I did the overnight. I was too tired when I was about 9 in the morning to drive all the way out west to go home. So I pulled in here. It was December. It was cold. So I opened the door, locked myself in the house, went to my office. I had a futon, just grabbed an old blanket, threw it over me, and laid down the cat nap a little bit before I tried to drive home. Then all of a sudden, something small scurried up and over me. And all I could think of was, my goodness, I got a cat in here, a rat in here, or a bat or something. So I kind of opened one eye, and I'm expecting to see this little rat or cat or squirrel. And all I saw 6 inches away was a face. And the face was nondescript. I couldn't tell you if it was female or male. It was all dark, didn't have any eyes. It was in a hood. It took my breath away. My first thought was, oh my God, somebody got one of my robes on and you got me. Then it dawns on me, I'm the only one in this house. I'm locked into this house and it's gone. That face could not have gotten to the position it was without falling on me with just pure gravity. And we call that the gatekeeper. Fear is an art form. I'm not a big thrill seeker of today's show everything bloody monster stuff. So every person can use their imagination to their fullest. In fact, the scariest thing we ever had in this house was a sign at my ticket booth. And the sign said, rattlesnakes donated by the Sand Hills Sidewinders Club. Every once in a while, somebody would read that sign and they'd turn a little white and they'll look at us and say, you really don't have rattlesnakes in this house? And I would go, Jesus, guy, 3 blocks down the road, we've got the Henry Dorley Zoo, and they got a 16-foot long king cobra, poisonous land snake with a 1/4 inch of glass between you and 6 inches away, and I'll walk away. Well, I never addressed rattlesnakes. I just told them about a king cobra in the Henry Dorley Zoo. Well, the guy's now in the house. He works his way through the first 2 floors. We literally do a little block and get in his way, and his group walks away from him when the wall opens up and the guy says, Mike, the rattlesnake got out. He goes, oh crap. He jumps in the wall. He goes into the next room. There's still nobody there, but lit up in the wall is an aquarium. And it's got sand in it. It's got a snake skin in it, and the corner is lifted up, and it's empty. He still can't talk to anybody. He's not a happy camper. He goes into a little horseshoe black maze. Second turn in that horseshoe in the blackness is my buddy with a baby rattle. He hits that baby rattle and we've got a traumatized person on your shoulders. We sold that hook, line, and sinker.
I expected all the scares to be something that would come from the front or the side, but the very first scare was a guy that was right behind me. And it blew my mind and actually made me scared to go into a haunted house for about 3 or 4 years. But I immediately started building haunted houses in my basement, and it's like a tribute to Mystery Manor.
Some of the scariest things ever happened to this house was people with their eyes closed, screaming and hollering, going through the house who see absolutely nothing, but get to be jeepers scared out of themselves because they scared themselves. We used to call them caterpillars. Be about 6 or 7 young girls bury their heads in the back of girl in front of them. With the first one closes her eyes, starts yelling, and they all start yelling, and the caterpillar will go all the way through your house, see absolutely nothing, but run through it as fast as they can and get in line and do it again. So, but they got the show they wanted to see. They're if I've got 8 and 9-year-old traumatized kids, I do a Scooby-Doo show. You can tell a 9-year-old that people wearing masks and he's not going to register. He's traumatized. But you tell him, remember, this is a fun house, and then you ask him to do you a favor. I'd like you to give me high-pitched scream, and we'll keep the monsters at bay. Will you do that for me? Now I'm counting, and I go 1, 2, and on 3, I just say scream, and I get a scream from them, and I high-five them, and the kid, from a traumatized kid to an untraumatized kid, in less than 1 minute. If you bring a child in, he's more important to get him untraumatized than try to give a scary show to everybody around him.
I tell most of the parents in line, you can waste $14 or you can waste $28 by trying to drag that kid in when you come down the front steps, and I'll just laugh at you. They don't want to go and you drag them in. You're a fool. We make no bones about bad parenting. We're willing to take the money from bad parents as well as good ones. If they're smart, they get out before they paid.
Anytime I audition somebody into the house, I try to audition passion, not my likes or dislikes. I don't care whether I like what you do. I care that you like what you do. Just like you, that will relate to it. Even though it might be the worst thing I've ever seen, it might be the best thing that somebody else, and the only thing they like in the house.
I remember all of the cool guys that were like staged outside. There was a line, and there was always these great monsters kind of weaving in and out, kind of keeping you entertained.
A lot of people that work here have been working here for many a year. I've got 2 gentlemen that are working with me that have been with me for 36 years. And the age bracket ranges from 78 years old down to about 16. I have 2 sons and 2 granddaughters working for me now. One son basically does the management of the house, and the other one is my security.
Over 30 years, that's really hard because I have like monsters that all know me. There's a lot of people that know me from 30 years ago, and there's a lot that I can't remember anymore. If you're here long enough, they start dying on you too.
I buried my best friend out here who worked for me. I've known for 30 years, and too many friends of mine are now gone, and we buried them. And I owe it to them to not take down what we're doing. We got people that are very limited on scope, that this is the best thing that's ever happened to them in their whole life. And 1.5 months out of the year, they're a superstar. They're not acting, that's who they are. And now they got to fight that for the next 10.5 months. It's a gathering of a family. And in your family, you got all the black sheeps. I do not try to change black sheeps. I just corral them so they can't be so black a sheep that we have to get rid of them. And I'll get rid of them if they are. But you don't have to change who you are. You just have to be able to try to treat people kindly to the best of your abilities. But people are more messy. And they put Hotel California down there. Then you had Fright Zone and Fear Factor. And we've been in the same place for the last 36 years. They're all gone and we're still here. My sons have a good argument. I cost us so much money every year. They'd love to have me retire so they can make more money. But it's not about the money.
We went to haunted houses that were just kind of thrown together. They were still neat. I remember one that were made out of like semi-trailers. They were there for a month, and then they kind of packed them up and shipped them away. But Mystery Manor's still here. It's hard as a parent nowadays to hand stuff down to your child in the way that you experienced it. You know, they're always hearing stories about how the things were, how this was cooler than it is now. Well, I can show her something that's just as cool now as it was back in my day. The same place, the same vibe. You can see the look on her face. It's priceless.
This is the very first scary house you ever walked into when you were 12. And now you're bringing your 12-year-old through the house. Your show is 2 steps back, reliving your own 12-year-old go through what you did vicariously. Now he's having this heck scared out of him, and you're vicariously seeing it from a different perspective. So as everybody comes into this industry, every person in every group has a different reason for being here. It's not ours to judge, but it's ours to engage you and to realize it. And with that, to play with it.
That was way more scary than Scary Acres.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good one.
That's a classic.
Yeah.
thousands of people before you've gone down that same slide and they're still just as scared.
I like the